There is a moment every morning that most women over 40 know intimately but never talk about. You wake up, you walk to the bathroom, and before you have done anything else, before coffee, before your phone, before the day has started, you look at yourself in the mirror, and the first thing your eyes go to is the skin under your eyes, the puffiness, the dark hollows, the crepe-like texture that was not there 5 years ago, the bags that make you look exhausted even when you slept 8 hours, the shadows that concealer covers for approximately 90 minutes before settling into the fine lines and making everything look worse than it did without it. You have tried the eye cream. Of course you have. You have tried several, maybe a dozen over the years. The $20 one from the drugstore. The $40 one the beauty advisor swore by. The $60 one with the peptide complex in the tiny jar with the applicator tip that felt like it was doing something scientific. And eventually, the $95 one, the one you bought because you had tried everything else, and maybe you thought. The problem was that you had never spent enough to find the one that actually worked. It did not work. None of them worked. Not in the way the packaging promised. Not in the way that would make you stop looking at the skin under your eyes every morning with that quiet resignation that has become part of your routine as much as the coffee that follows it. Here is what I need you to understand. Those eye creams did not fail because you bought the wrong one. They failed because the eye cream category, virtually the entire category, at every price point, is formulated to address a surface symptom while ignoring the 3 biological causes that create under-eye bags, dark circles, and crepey texture in women over 35. There is an ingredient that costs $1. It is available in every grocery store in America. Applied correctly under your eyes at night, it addresses all 3 causes simultaneously. And it does it more effectively than any eye cream I have ever reviewed the ingredient list for, at any price. The ingredient is raw potato. And before you close this video, before the word potato makes you dismiss this as a folk remedy that belongs in your grandmother's kitchen and not on your face, I need you to hear the biochemistry. Because what is inside a raw potato is not folklore. It is a specific combination of compounds that modern cosmetic chemistry has been isolating, synthesizing, and selling back to you at $95 an ounce for the last 2 decades. Welcome to Dr. Redmond, Skincare for Women. Let's get into it. The skin under your eyes is the thinnest skin on your entire body, approximately 0.5 millimeter thick, 3 to 5 times thinner than the skin on the rest of your face. It contains fewer sebaceous glands, less collagen, less elastin, and almost no subcutaneous fat. It is, by design, the most fragile and the most transparent area of skin you have. That transparency is the reason you can see what is happening underneath. The darkness, the discoloration, the bluish or brownish tint that makes you look tired. You're literally seeing through the skin to the blood vessels, like the pigmentation and the fluid accumulation below. On the rest of your face, the skin is thick enough to mask what is underneath. Under the eyes, there is almost no mask. Everything shows. This is why concealer works for 90 minutes and then fails. You're painting over glass. The coverage sits on an impossibly thin surface, migrates into the fine lines created by the lack of structural collagen, and reveals what is underneath within hours. No formula, no matter how expensive, can maintain opaque coverage on skin that thin for an entire day. Now let me tell you what is actually causing what you see under your eyes every morning, because these are 3 distinct mechanisms, and understanding them is the difference between buying another $95 cream that addresses none of them and using a $1 ingredient that addresses all 3. Cause 1. Fluid retention. The puffiness, The actual bags is fluid. Lymphatic fluid, interstitial fluid that has accumulated in the tissue under your eyes overnight. During sleep, you are horizontal. Gravity is no longer pulling fluid downward away from your face. Fluid distributes evenly, and the under eye area, because the skin is so thin and the tissue so loosely structured, accumulates that fluid visibly. In younger skin, the lymphatic system clears this fluid efficiently within the first hour of being upright. In mature skin, the lymphatic drainage slows. The fluid stays longer. The puffiness that used to resolve by the time you finished breakfast now persists into the afternoon, sometimes all day. Every eye cream that claims to depuff is trying to address this fluid retention. Most of them use caffeine as the active ingredient. Caffeine constricts blood vessels temporarily, which can reduce the appearance of puffiness for a short period. But caffeine applied to the skin surface in a cream base does not reach the lymphatic fluid sitting in the tissue below. It tightens the surface. It does not drain the fluid. The bags are still there. They are just wearing a tighter shirt. Cause 2. Hyperpigmentation. The dark circles, the brownish or purplish discoloration, are caused by two overlapping mechanisms. The first is hemoglobin degradation. The tiny blood vessels under the eyes leak small amounts of blood into the surrounding tissue, a normal process that accelerates with age as the capillary walls become more fragile. The hemoglobin in that leaked blood breaks down into darker pigmented compounds that deposit in the tissue and create a visible discoloration beneath the translucent skin. The second mechanism is melanin accumulation. Chronic low-grade inflammation in the under eye area, driven by UV exposure, friction from rubbing, allergic responses, and the general inflammaging process in mature skin, stimulates melanocytes to produce excess melanin in the periorbital area. This pigmentation sits in the epidermis and upper dermis and creates the brownish component of dark circles that is distinct from the vascular bluish component. Most eye creams contain vitamin C or niacinamide as brightening agents. Both are legitimate ingredients for pigmentation. Neither, at the concentrations present in most eye creams and in the delivery vehicles those creams use, penetrates the ultra-thin under-eye skin in sufficient quantity to measurably affect either the hemoglobin deposits or the melanin accumulation happening below. Cause 3. Collagen loss and structural thinning. The crepey texture, the fine crinkly lines that appear when you smile, when you squint, when the skin bunches in any direction, is the visible result of collagen and elastin loss in an area that had very little of either to begin with. The structural scaffolding that kept the under-eye skin smooth and resilient in your 20s and 30s has thinned to the point where the skin no longer bounces back from expression. It creases. It stays creased. And each year, the creases become more visible because the structural layer underneath continues to thin. Eye creams address this with peptides, retinol derivatives, or hyaluronic acid. The peptides are present at concentrations too low to stimulate meaningful collagen synthesis. The retinol derivatives, as I have covered in previous videos, require multi-step enzymatic conversion before they become biologically active. And the under-eye area, with its minimal enzymatic activity, converts them poorly. The hyaluronic acid provides temporary surface plumping that lasts hours and addresses appearance, not structure. There are 3 causes, 3 mechanisms. 0 adequately addressed by the product category that charges you $95 and exists solely because of those 3 mechanisms. Now let me tell you what is inside a raw potato and why it works where those products do not. A raw potato contains a surprisingly specific combination of bioactive compounds that address all 3 under-eye mechanisms simultaneously. First, catecholase. This is an enzyme naturally present in raw potato that has documented skin lightening activity. Catecholase inhibits tyrosinase, the enzyme responsible for melanin production in the skin. When raw potato juice contacts the under-eye area, the catecholase directly suppresses the melanin synthesis that is creating the brownish component of your dark circles. And this is the same mechanism targeted by prescription-grade hydroquinone and by the vitamin C and kojic acid in your brightening serums, except catecholase in fresh potato juice is present in its active enzymatic form, directly available to the skin without conversion or activation. Second, potassium. Raw potato juice is exceptionally rich in potassium, an electrolyte that regulates fluid balance in tissue. When applied topically to the ultra-thin under-eye skin, the potassium in the potato juice works osmotically to draw excess fluid out of the swollen tissue. This is not a surface tightening trick like caffeine. This is an osmotic mechanism that addresses the actual fluid sitting in the tissue, the fluid that creates the visible bags. The reduction in puffiness from potassium is not temporary surface constriction. It is genuine fluid movement out of the tissue, producing a depuffing effect that is visible and that lasts significantly longer than any caffeine-based eye cream. Third, vitamin C in its freshest, most bioavailable form. Raw potato contains ascorbic acid at concentrations that, when applied fresh and directly to the skin, provide antioxidant protection and support collagen synthesis in the treatment area. Unlike the stabilized vitamin C derivatives in commercial products, which must be converted to ascorbic acid by the skin before becoming active, the vitamin C in fresh potato juice is already in its active form. Applied to the thin under-eye skin, it penetrates efficiently and contributes directly to the collagen support that the area desperately needs. Fourth, natural starches that form a gentle film on the skin surface. This film does two things. It holds the active compounds in contact with the skin for an extended period, and it provides a mild tightening effect that smooths the surface texture of the crepey skin while the deeper mechanisms work underneath. This is not the aggressive tightening of a chemical film former that dries the skin and exaggerates fine lines within hours. It is a gentle, hydrating tightening that improves the appearance of texture while supporting the skin rather than stressing it. Catecholase for pigmentation, potassium for fluid retention, vitamin C for collagen support and brightening. Natural starches for surface texture. 4 mechanisms in one ingredient, applied directly to the area where the skin is thinnest and most absorptive, at a cost of approximately $1 per potato, which provides enough material for 6 to 8 applications. Here is your protocol. Buy an organic potato. Any variety, russet, yellow, red, all contain the relevant compounds. Organic is preferred because you are applying the juice directly to the thinnest skin on your face and you want to minimize pesticide residue. 1 potato costs approximately $1 and provides nearly a week of treatments. Every evening, after your full cleanse, cut 2 thin slices from the raw potato. Thin, approximately 1/8 of an inch thick. The slices should be translucent enough that you can almost see through them. The thinner the slice, the more juice contacts your skin directly, and the better the slices conform to the contour of the under-eye area. Lie down. Place 1 slice under each eye, directly on the skin. Eye covering the area from the inner corner to the outer corner and extending down to the top of the cheekbone. Close your eyes. Leave the slices in place for 15 to 20 minutes. During this time, the juice from the potato is in direct contact with the under-eye skin. The catecholase, the potassium, the vitamin C, and the starches are all penetrating the epidermis and beginning to work. You will feel a cooling sensation immediately. That is the high water content of the potato drawing heat from the inflamed under-eye tissue. If you have active puffiness, you may feel a subtle tightening within the first 5 minutes as the potassium begins to shift fluid osmotically. After 15 to 20 minutes, remove the slices. Do not rinse immediately. Allow the residual juice to sit on the skin for another 5 minutes. Then rinse gently with cool water, not cold, not warm, cool, and pat dry with a clean cloth. Apply your usual nighttime moisturizer or oil over the area to seal in the compounds. Store the remaining potato in a sealed container in the refrigerator. Cut fresh slices each evening. A single potato provides 6 to 8 treatments before it needs to be replaced. The cold temperature of the refrigerated potato adds an additional vasoconstrictive benefit. The cold narrows the blood vessels in the under-eye area on contact, immediately reducing the bluish vascular component of dark circles. That is the protocol. 1 potato, 15 minutes lying down, $1 for nearly a week of treatment. Here is what you will see. Morning 1. The puffiness is reduced. Noticeably, the potassium-driven fluid drainage and the overnight cooling effect produce a visible reduction in under-eye bags that is apparent the first morning. The area will feel less swollen, less heavy, less congested. If you take a photograph in morning light on day 1 and compare it to a photograph taken the morning before you started, the difference in the under-eye contour will be clear. Morning 2 and 3. The dark circles begin to soften. The catecholase is suppressing active melanin production with each application. The hemoglobin deposits in the tissue are not removed overnight. They are gradually broken down and cleared by the body over days. By morning 3, the darkness has a different quality. Less dense, less defined at the edges. The circles are still present, but they are lifting. Oh, as if someone has turned the opacity down slightly. Morning 4 and 5, the texture change becomes apparent. The fine crepey lines under the eyes, the ones that deepen when you smile and stay visible even at rest, are softer. The combination of vitamin C supporting collagen activity and the natural starches gently conditioning the surface each night is producing a cumulative smoothing effect. The skin under your eyes feels slightly thicker, slightly more resilient, slightly more like skin that has structure underneath it, rather than skin that is draped over nothing. Morning 6. This is the morning most women in this community say something shifted. The bags are functionally gone. Not because the tendency toward fluid retention has been cured permanently, but because 6 consecutive nights of potassium-driven fluid management have recalibrated the baseline. The under-eye area looks flat where it used to be puffy. The dark circles have faded to a point where concealer is optional rather than mandatory. The texture is smoother than it has been in years. You will look in the mirror on morning 6, and for the first time in a long time, the skin under your eyes will not be the first thing you see. You will see your face, your eyes. The features that the bags and the shadows and the crepey texture had been pulling attention away from for years. That is not $1's worth of potato doing something magical. That is 4 biological mechanisms working every night on the most absorptive, most responsive skin on your body, compounding over 6 nights into a visible result that $95 of eye cream never delivered because it was never addressing the right mechanisms at the right layer. I want to address the practical question. Is this sustainable as a long-term protocol? Yes. Raw potato is non-irritating, non-comedogenic, and contains no compounds that sensitize the under-eye skin with repeated use. Women in this community have followed this protocol for months continuously without any adverse response. The only consideration is freshness. Always use a freshly cut slice from a refrigerated potato. Do not use potato that has turned green, as green potatoes contain elevated solanine levels that can irritate skin. If the potato is firm, white, or yellow-fleshed, and stored in the refrigerator, it is safe for nightly use. For maintenance after the initial 6-day intensive period, you can reduce frequency to 3 or 4 nights per week and maintain the results. Many women find that 3 nights per week is sufficient to keep the under-eye area depuffed, the circles faded, and the texture smooth. With a full week of nightly application whenever they want to reset after a period of poor sleep, travel, or stress. If you have followed everything in this video, you have a complete under-eye protocol. $1. 15 minutes before bed. 6 nights to a visible result that no eye cream at any price has given you. Because no eye cream at any price addresses all 3 causes of under-eye aging simultaneously, at the concentration and in the delivery form that raw potato provides naturally. That is what Dr. Redmond, Skincare for Women, is built on. The research exists. The ingredient is in your kitchen. The cost is honest. And you deserve to know that the $95 you spent on that tiny jar bought you a beautifully packaged product that treated the surface of a problem whose causes are all underneath. If this is the video that finally changes what you see in the mirror every morning, share it with a woman who has been fighting the same battle. A friend who has a drawer full of eye creams that disappointed her. A sister who puts concealer on before she answers a video call because she does not want anyone to see what her under-eye area looks like without it. She deserves this information. It costs $1, and it has been sitting in her refrigerator this entire time. Subscribe to Dr. Redmond, Skincare for Women. Every video on this channel follows the same principle. We'll find the research, remove the noise, give you the protocol. The next video is already waiting. It covers the single ingredient that arouses hyperpigmentation, the dark spots, the sun damage, the uneven tone that has accumulated over years. Faster than any brightening serum on the market. 1 ingredient, 1 overnight application. A mechanism that works at the level of melanin production itself. I will see you there.